Okay, hey, welcome to the video. This video is to help Cindy Coppins, who has a language barrier with some of our posts, and she said it was hard to understand with the language. So hopefully if I can explain some stuff verbally, maybe that can help and show some pictures to you while I'm talking. Maybe that can help. Sometimes just talking and not showing pictures isn't as helpful, which is why Linda always uses so many pictures. So I wanted to help you understand where your horse's foot is right now and help you get a visualization in your head of what you're going to do next. So what to see, what to look for, and what exactly is happening with the inner foot underneath here. So hopefully that can help you understand what you need to do next and why you need to grow heels out. Okay, so let's look at that based on what Linda said on the post to you. Without giving you any specific. I wanted to come in. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about how to trim right now because as Linda said, you don't need to trim, you just need to grow right now. Of course, you need to maintain something while it's growing, but we'll get there. So to start off with, what I wanted to show you was what's missing here. Okay, can you see the foot should really be where my cursor is going? Like it should come back to here and then go up. That much foot is missing. So this guy tried to fix the problem with your foot. He actually approached the wrong part of the foot and made it worse. He actually should have been growing heel, because when you grow heel, what happens is the back part of the foot gets lifted completely up. Let me show you with this picture here. When you grow heel, what happened with see how low the back of this foot comes here, and see how much pushed up it is here. See how much higher it is? So we're going to give you some support system back here, just like what happened with Valor's foot. This is Linda's horse 2 years ago now, when she was still learning how to restore the back of the foot with the final chapter of what she's learning now, or what she's perfecting now. So you can see how if this is higher right here, because there's more foot here, you can lift up, right? All of these lines would be more straight. If you can, I can try to show you what I mean by that. Imagine you have a high heel shoe on, okay? So you're wearing a shoe with a 3-inch heel, and all of a sudden your 3-inch heel breaks off. What happens to your foot? The whole back of your heel falls down, but yet it's all in a funky alignment because the shoe is actually designed to have a 3-inch heel on it. So the bottom of the sole of your foot is curved and arched up to accommodate the higher heel in the back. So you can't just break off heels of a high-heeled shoe and have a flat shoe, can you? That's the same thing with a horse's foot. You can't just break off the heel of a foot and take it away. You can't just file off the heel of a horse's foot and have everything else just sit at a different angle and be proper. It just can't happen because the foot itself is not designed to do that. So that's what happened here, is it should have a higher heel, and it's been filed away, just like as if you broke the heel off your shoe. So you need to add more hoof tissue here, more hoof capsule, so the inner foot can have some place to go. And that will help with everything. So this is an example I found for you. This is the hoof capsule right now. This is the same as this right here, okay? So this is the same as this shoe. And this is the inner foot that should have some place underneath it to go. It should have hoof capsule under it, but it doesn't have it. So this right here is where you should have there's places for the inner foot to be right here, but it can't be here because there's just airspace here. There's no place for it to expand to back in here. Same thing with this person. So this is smushed on a horse's foot. It's smushed inside, isn't it? And as we grow this out and expand the back of the foot back, then all this can come back to its proper place. What's actually happened to your foot is like what happened to this shoe. But now let's say we took off the hoof capsule and we're looking at the inner foot. This is the inner tissue of the foot, and this is the horse's leg, right? The inner tissue that's supposed to be underneath the leg is actually smushed in, and the leg is walking on it in a way. It's smushed down and underneath inside the foot, just like this shoe from this person walking improperly on the back of their heel. Just like the horse's leg is improperly walking on the back of its hoof capsule. So this right here is the same thing as what's happening here, is what's happening to your inner foot. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. So I wanted to go through that with you and show you when this gets longer, how it will lift up the back of your foot. And then these lines, what's going to happen? When you lift, if you right now lifted this foot up an inch, so you just went and stuck an inch tall piece of cork underneath both the whole back of this foot. You wedged a wedge that was an inch tall in the back. Well, let's say a half inch, because let's say you have half inch nubbins right here. So you add a half inch right here, and then it flattens out to here, and you have the horse stand on that. What's it going to do? It's instantly going to make these lines straighter, isn't it? They're going to straighten up, aren't they? So that's what you need to do with your foot. When you lift up the back of the heel, these lines will automatically be straighter, and we're also going to help them once the heel gets to the proper length. Then you can reassess all these lines, and they can continue to come back through other methods that we're not going to get into in this video, because this isn't a trimming video. This is just an anatomy lesson for you to understand what's going on with your horse's foot. So the reason why you have thin soles is because the whole back of the foot is out of place, causing the sole to not be able to grow thickly. So when none of this is working right, what happens is this outer hoof capsule laminae lines up with the inner hoof capsule, the inner foot laminae, and they come together with the sole laminae, and they grow together. If they are at the right angle, then you can get as much as a 1 inch thick sole under here. But if they're not at the right angle, because this is all slanted forward, as you know, you've got the underrun heels. When this is slanted too far forward, especially in the back here, and collapsed down, because the angle is too close to the ground, causing this to be too slanted forward, then what happens is this can't grow thick enough. So that's why you have the sole bruising happening as well. One of the reasons why you have it, because this anatomy can't work properly. So as you restore your heels, you'll also start to grow thicker soles, and that will really help your horse so much. So see how as this lifts up, you're going to have the ability to have a much more sole right here, aren't you? You can have a thicker sole here if this is lifted up. If I just lifted this up right now, this foot on the left, if I lifted it up, what would have to happen? You'd have air right there, right? Well, that air can fill in with more sole. Get it? Okay, I think you got it. What to look for as you're restoring your heels and the back of the foot, which you have to learn a lot about the back of the foot, so we can help you with that too. But what's going to happen is you're going to start to see a frog stay come in, which foot happened here. This foot had no frog stay. I want to show you the difference. There's a frog stay, there's no frog stay. And as it grows, you might start to see just a little nubbins like that coming through. Right now, you can stick a hoof pick in the middle of your two heel bulbs, and you're just going to have a groove there on your foot now. Over time, that will start to fill in. It's just crazy how this cartilage just starts coming. Just little by little by little, like a flower growing, basically. you start to get that in the right place. This reminded me of how your horse has been trimmed. This is a person that is mimicking David Laundeville's trim. A very, very dangerous trimmer out there right now, popular in this United States, getting more popular. And he makes these hoof pictures and make it look like art form and say, oh, isn't this beautiful? And he has an arch in the bottom of the foot, and none of his feet have any cartilages in the proper spot in the back of the foot. There's no buttress there. It's very, very short, and this is horrendous. There's not a piece of frog stay in there. So you'll see a difference as you go, where you'll start to see a frog stay come in right there. And this is, I think, might have been some inspiration for your trimmer, but it's from a whole point of misunderstanding, complete misunderstanding of the foot. Yeah, those were the pictures I had to show you. So hopefully that can help you understand what's going on with your foot, and how as this lifts up, what's going to happen. All these lines are automatically going to get straighter, right? They're automatically going to get straighter. And then you can do some serious mapping to your pillars or your toe quarters here. And once you get your toes where you want them at the 3.5 inch mark on a full size horse, most of the time 3.5 inches, is a good good parameter. Then you can start looking at going over 2 inches and making sure this area isn't left too long so that it can come back. But you got to get this first. Like Linda said, there's nothing here. This is just going to get stuck right here. It can't move back unless this can lift. So hopefully that helps you. On the specifics of how to trim. Oh, one more thing I wanted to show you, I forgot to tell you about. Without getting into your specifics, because you have a lot to do, and right now you just have to grow and learn. But this area of the foot is incredibly important for everything staying back with the hoof capsule buttresses. You've also got the soft tissues to deal with here and the frog area. So much to learn from Linda. But I just wanted to show you one thing that really helps me with my horses and the people I have helped. We've really seen that can really help, and that is to, as you grow heel out, as your heels are growing out and getting longer, stay on top of this area of the foot more often. Like, I never leave this. So if I'm trying to get my foot to come back and not be underrun and curved under, I find that it really helps to keep up on keeping this part flat. So I can do it without like really taking anything off. I basically am just shaping it flat. I'm not really taking length off. I'm just going across it with the file to make sure that the horse is landing on a nice flat heel. Because if it's flat, then they can put their weight on his back as far back on this as they can get it. If I don't keep it filed nice and flat, I find that this area wants to curve forward. So then they start walking on the buttress. I'm growing out buttress, but I'm not getting anywhere because they're walking on the side of it. Does that make sense? Because this gets curved forward, and then what happens is they're walking on the edge down here of the buttress. So if I keep it filed flat more often, I mean, I'm talking like I will check on it as much as every 3 to 4 days. I'll give it a quick check-in. But once a week, once every 2 weeks. 2 weeks is a long time sometimes. Once my gelding's starting to get more restored now, and now I can go longer. But when I'm trying to keep this from going forward, and it, one file on it every 6 weeks is, for me, just does not do it. It just does not do it. So when you get to the point where you have something to file, and I would watch it. I mean, for me, I would just watch this as it grows, and as it's growing out, maybe you're going to leave it for 2 months. Maybe you're not going to touch it for 2 months, and you're going to grow something back there. And then you're going to be able to establish a little bit of a plateau. Once you get to that point, then you're going to just keep after the situation and check in on the bottom of the foot quite often, because you'll find that very quickly things can go awry and get pulled forward again. Because what happened, remember, the inner foot is pulled forward and everything is bound in that spot, and we're trying to release everything, and we're going to try to grow stuff and have the back of the foot grow back, right? We want to fill in hoof capsule. It's not even here yet, right? We want to have hoof capsule back to here. So in order to have hoof capsule back to here, when it grows up, we want to be able to keep it standing nice and straight. So I find that it helps my buttresses to stay straight if I keep after the flat top. Just kind of keep a nice landing pad for them. So when they walk, every time they step, they're not wearing down the sides of those buttresses. Hopefully that makes sense. We can get into that later if we need to. So yes, I'm sure that you're going to find great progress in the next 6 months or so. I'm looking really forward to some check-ins. I'd love to see some pictures from you in a little while, and hopefully in the meantime, if you have any, major issues with your horse being lame, make sure you holler at us. And people like Riza are really experienced with things it can do for horses to artificially help the foot to not be in so much pain as you're growing it out, and that is totally not my area at all. So check in with other people in the group if your horse is having a tough time walking. But hopefully this will help you understand what's wrong and what you're aiming for. That was the point of my video. So hopefully that will help you, and